experience because we are interpreting it. And this build up or build out to understanding is said to be first disclosed to us as human beings through our practical day-to-day encounters with each other. And these are things within the world and also through our language, right? So this processing of the BIDEC is expressed through our TWA. It's our thoughts, which goes through the filter of the BIDEC. And it could be the things that we're saying to ourselves, the words, the quality of those words, and life sentences we give ourselves and to others, that then show up in the way that we act, right? Sometimes actions speak louder than words, right? Okay, so this is talked about by different philosophers on some level. People often reference Martin Heidegger, the German philosopher. He talks about this some level in his book, his landmark book, Being in Time, but also John Dewey, Jürgen Habermas, Nicholas Comprendus, and Charles Taylor have all talked about this as well. Not necessarily talking about the WeltSchloss. So I don't know if I'm really bridging something that's new that we're now entering into the world, and now we're going to have new terminology or techniques or ways to be able to communicate this interpretation of this reckoning of reality so that now we'll be able to have a better handle on it. And the handle would be to be able to adjust the dial to our liking, like a temperature and the adjustment on a thermostat or your air conditioning unit or waving a fan on yourself. You're sort of adjusting for something that's, at least from my advantage point, would be that I'm no longer thrown off guard or having to defend something that's just an illusion in my mind anyway. And again, I'm not having to point fingers or lose it in any capacity. I can observe it, and at least for myself, adjust to the way of my being so I can be perhaps better accommodating to and for you. So if there was some miscommunication or something that became misconstrued or not to your liking, we can at least decipher that and come to maybe a finer sense of appreciation of each other or the situation so that, again, we have a better handling on it. And it happens, again, through this Erschlossenheit, this revealing of the development and comprehension and in this world disclosure. All right. So to me, as I write in the paper, this kind of interpretation of reality. Now, I talk about the Morb and their perception of reality, the MORB, again, modus operandi of rational behavior, that they kind of comprehend and filter everything through what I describe as a noun reality. Because when you encounter these people, that's all they seem to know about and talk about are people, places, and things. What's going on is just that. And you may not even know those people, places, and things, but they'll be talking about it to you, taking your time. And yet, you want to be appreciative and polite, but yet you also feel like you want to get out of there or at least change the subject. But that's an example of a noun reality. But we're kind of going deeper because we're not just looking peripherally at people and places and things that are going on. We may have a greater understanding of it and know that its purpose through its perception does reflect into our ways of being, and it projects out through our mannerisms and our style. But also, we're understanding that this basis of how we're interpreting things as a foundation of WeltSchloss is making existence functional to some regard. And for some, this is pretty idealized, right? They're loving it. They really appreciate the situations of the WeltSchloss reckoning reality that they have. Not all of us do, but there are some out there who, for whatever reason, are just having the greatest time. And maybe some of these people are happy all the time, and they are making a contribution, they got their bills paid, and they're not in jail. So you got to say, hey, what's going on? But then you might have some people who are in jail, dealing with it the best that they can, and those who are not in jail but feel like they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Sort of like it's WeltSchloss, this quality of the world that we're dwelling in, can be interpreted by different situations and memes, perhaps, and perhaps mood swings. But yet we're looking at something that is coming into our comprehension. So it's not just of knowing what it is, but we're examining the presentation of the meanings that come into our purview. And in a sense, by me looking and examining about WeltSchloss, I'm also looking at the possibilities that through our cooperative, that means you and I, observing, is going to offer something that's going to free us from the past. And it's going to allow the restriction or the chains that kept us back from this realization that it's going to combine cooperation and perhaps community and this idea of this ultra being enlightenment can now become a bit more accessible because now we have this connectivity to it. Now, that doesn't mean that it's always everything that we like or dislike has to be interpreted or even a shared reality that we're in agreement in. There just can be an appreciation that something is presenting or something's in the space. And I call that a metasphere, sort of an atmosphere in which we are sort of participating in. And people call it a social climate, right? The atmosphere of the room. I think we need to really kind of define it, and sort of get down to brass tacks. Let's call it a metasphere so now we can have this greater sense of understanding. So that would be the immediacy. And then the grander scale would be the WeltSchloss, which is our world dwelling and how we are being in this world. And the grander scheme would be the universe, how we all are. And that would, when I talk about the mess, matter, energy, space, and time. And how things sort of become misinterpreted and messed up. Now it can, again, be found at WorldTourIdeas.com. WorldTourIdeas.com. I think I'm going to wrap up here. But while there may be many layers of bi-deck levels when you explore bideck.masstrance.com, and you can get into the WeltSchloss, I'm looking to build this out into a book and something that could be perhaps a cornerstone of new type thoughts and philosophy, but something that would be practical in the way of our wisdom and love for philosophy and wisdom, right? That then can be present for it. And we can be more wise. Not better than thou, or again, I want to diffuse the ego and have sort of the reins on my ego where I'm going in my imagination. You can find that writing at igoism.com, igoism.com. That's my writing about the selfie of the mind, where I go in my imagination, and we are pretty much living there most of the time and having a bit more awareness of where I'm projecting myself and my fantasies and wishes and complaints and restraints. Can be found there. And it might be opening up a new level of neo-psychology, who knows, related to my other writings on prions. What's prying on you, baby? PRYONS.com, prions.com. All right, I hope you're having some fun with this. Man, I'm looking at my list here, man. It's like I took some time out to do this call, and it's already like lunch, like I was saying. Well, not too bad of a talk, but yeah, I'm overdue for a posting. So it'd be 3 for this month. Not bad for mid-month, but I haven't posted them yet, so hopefully you'll find them. Maybe I did one at the beginning of the month. I know I did one at the end of April. Again, my name's Mike Ratner. Some of my rants and writings found at my CV resume website, but I need to update that. MikeRatner.com, GrandTourIdeas.com, and for more talks like this, just go to Mike'sMastermind.com. Hey, I'd love your feedback, and whether you interpret things your way, I'm totally open to things because I'm really just putting some ideas out there, and it's to share them and to reflect on them and then expand my own interpretation of things that then I can write more about and share even wider. And you can help expand that reach by sharing those links and telling other people about it if it's of interest, and feel free to communicate with me. My other buddy, DC, I talked also to Marquetta, my 2 Florida buddies, but they're separate parts of the state, far away for such a short state, small state. But anyway, talking about some of these ideas about starting a friendship fellowship. I don't know if that's of interest to you, but where we make friendship meaningful and have a deep essence of our fellowship, whether we're talking about ideas or spiritual exploration of these concepts or just having that connectivity, that we're calling ourselves the friendshipfellowship.com.org. If that's something of interest to you, let us know because we're thinking of launching it. All right, we got to go. Right. Thank you. And hope you enjoyed it. MikeRatner.com. Mike'sMastermind.com.